Woo! What is up, people? It is draft day weekend. We know a lot of people are having their fantasy baseball drafts this weekend, getting ready for the season as it starts on April 1st. That's when we got opening day. So we figured there'll be a lot of drafts coming into this weekend and for the Monday and Tuesday. So we're gonna give you another mock draft to get you guys ready for the season. So without further ado, here we go.
Hey, David and Taco, they bring the heat. All about UFC, way more than a fantasy. Let's see who going toe to toe. Throw down on the mat, check the replay, run it back. We gotta check the stats. Hey, do this every day. We ain't come to play. This is sports talk, and we love talking MMA. Everything fantasy sports. Dopest show that I know. With Electric Dave and talented Mr. Taco. Let's go. Hey, G.
All right. So for today's mock draft, we're going to be going from the 13th spot in a 14-team league. We're going to be doing one switch in this. We're going to be doing it with OBP instead of average. And we got Ricky on today. How you feeling, Ricky?
Hey, man, ready to go. We have our own draft coming up in a few hours, right? Doing a 14-team league. So I'm ready to go. I'm excited. See what's going on. See how we do this mock draft.
Yep, and this mock draft is essentially set up with the same exact settings that we are drafting in tonight. It's going to be 14 teams. It's going to have OBP, and we're drafting it from the 13th position, to hold down our boy Angelo, who's drafting from the 13th spot today. So we're going to give him a little roadmap to victory. So without further ado, let's get it started.
All right. So this is from the 13th spot out of 14-team leagues.
Yep.
We're not doing average. We're doing OBP, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, guys, people out there, it does change kind of.
OBP stands for on-base percentage.
Yeah.
So basically what that encompasses is your average plus your walks.
Yep.
So this way you get a better, I feel like, feel for what the player is actually doing and performing,
right? Which would help something like just a quick, a Juan Soto, like his OBP would be way higher than what his, I guess, average would be.
I mean, he has a great average, but I think right. a better example is like a guy like Carlos Santana. Right. Carlos Santana is a horrible average guy, but he gets so many walks that his numbers just go so much higher on OBP.
Yeah.
I think when we come down to this one, it's pretty simple and easy. Who I like here, I'm a Jose Ramirez truther. I think that he's better than all these guys right here. Experts say 59%. So I think we're going to pull the trigger here with Jose.
Yeah, I have no problem with Jose Ramirez at all.
Boom. Keep that moving. So now we built a guy who's good in 5 categories, isn't the number one average guy, but overall he isn't that bad. So now back in the comeback around, you're looking at a couple of options. I think with the OBP type setup, this gives Cody Bellinger a shot to be great because normally sometimes his average could dip up and down, but overall he gets his walks in. He does give you that prodigious home run power, and he's going to be first base and outfield eligible. So he gives you some flexibility. So I say Cody Bellinger right here.
Yeah, that's also.
Oh, I mean the first part of the draft is just taking the best guys on the board. They both steal some bases, getting some stolen bases at a first base is a nice little pick me up, especially in on base leagues where you don't have to worry about his average so much and those walks factor in. It definitely helps a guy like Cody Bellinger be a little more relevant.
Also, just for viewers out there, because I know they see Bauer or Darvish. To me, it's I wouldn't go with the pitcher. Come back around. I believe we could get someone coming back or later in the round that is as I'm not as good as Bauer. I mean, again, I know a lot of people have Bauer up there, so
yeah. I mean, I think just for me, the reason why I would go with the hitter there over the pitcher in that situation is because when you look at both of those hitters, both hitters were 5 category guys in a 5x5 league. A pitcher can never be a full 5 category guy. A pitcher will always at max be a 4 category pitcher, or in some cases a 3 category pitcher with closers, which is why in most cases I choose to fade closers or not spend enormous capital on them, is because at the end of the day they are 3 category type players, 4 category category type players. Whereas when you look at a guy like Bellinger and Ramirez, they both still get stolen bases. They have good on base percentages. They hit home runs. They get runs, RBIs. So just their situations and what they're able to perform just gives that edge to them, just because of just the sheer fact of they give you 5 categories versus the other giving you 4. And I think that's just why it makes sense there.
Right.
Now it depends on
again. I want the viewers, because viewers might have a different. Hey, they look at it and they might just see Bauer and say, "Hey, well, why are we not picking him? He's an ace." Again,
no, absolutely, but I'm actually explaining to you why
Right.
why we're doing it. You know what I mean? Like it's 5 categories versus 4 categories.
Right.
At max, even if Bauer is that great. Now the question is, how much better is he going to be than, let's just say, a guy like, Bellinger over other guys at first base, where I said there's not many first basemen that are stealing bases.
Right.
And he's going to play mostly outfield this year anyway. So it's just a good situation there with Cody. But here, I think it's an interesting setup. There's a couple of starting pitchers that you could look at. Snell there, Kent Maeda, Glass now, Lance Lynn. I just feel like taking them all here at 41, maybe just a little bit of a reach. Maybe Snell, if you believe in him. When you look back at the overall, George Springer set up in a great situation. He's going to be hitting leadoff for the Toronto lineup. That's going to be
Also,
super
Steve,
stacked.
just go to the cheat sheet so we can have a fuller list.
Yeah. Boom.
But yeah, I'm fine with, at this point, I'm fine. I know you like Glaber. I with Springer getting hurt, I know they're saying that it's nothing really. He's going to come back from the hip. I'm always worried about that. So I would probably I'm probably going to shy away from Springer, just because of what's going on. I don't mind picking Glaber at second. I actually like also Luis Robert and Pete Alonso. I mean, I don't know, who do you have in mind kind of for the next 2 picks, because that's what we're going to go right after.
I think realistically, probably at this point in the draft, it would depend on what I want to do with Cody. If I want to play Cody at first, I keep Cody at first. If I want to move Cody to the outfield, I would take a guy like Pete Alonso, double up, because he has good on base percentages. He gets his walks in, which doesn't necessarily kill him the way it does in a standard league.
Right.
In the standard league, his average is usually a drawdown, but because he gets his walks in, it balances it out. So he's not a total killer on your OBP. I just want to just take a look and see what they have it projected at, which is just so weird that on one sheet he's so much higher, but on this one he's not. Okay, so OBP 332, not terrible. But when you look at it in comparison, first base is kind of dipping off right here.
Yeah,
he's the last first baseman. But that means that you want to play Cody Bellinger at outfield, and you manipulate the two at first base. And I think
which is always good when you guys are picking, when those players have that eligibility in other positions.
Yep. So that's why Cody even more made sense there over a guy like Bauer and stuff like that, because of this question that you can have now to how you build out your lineup. And right now he's the only one here projected to get 40 home runs.
Right.
So, and with the on base changing him instead of average, which doesn't give him that crazy drop. Now he's no longer just a 3 category player. He's more of a 4 category player. I'd probably say Pete Alonso fits right here.
Yeah.
With building out a team like that, because you already have some stolen bases, but you're building on an OBP, runs, home runs, and all that stuff. So I would go Pete here. And that would just move Cody to outfield. I would have Pete in first. There was 100% chance Pete would have been available. But look at the 2 guys that went, Marte and Arozarena. Those really weren't even options for us, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't even think I was even looking at that, but that is interesting.
I think here, I know that he's out a little bit, but George Springer's upside to me, especially in OBP league where he's going to get his walks, I think is just too great. I'll put him on the DL for the first 2 weeks, let him come back and not really worry about it, because for the length of the season, George Springer has proven that he's resilient. He's super healthy.
Right.
He has a strain now, but
he's going to be in a
potent
really great lineup with Toronto.
Right.
So
right.
I do understand that. Yeah.
And then that puts us dope outfield, great, like good power on this team.
Power, yeah.
This team has power. It has some stolen bases where if later on in the draft we can snag like another stolen base guy or two, it really would be cooking. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because you right now see Luke Voigt is out. That's another reason why Pete Alonso is more interesting to me because normally I'd be like, well, let's get Luke, but Luke is going to be out with the knee surgery, so he's going to be out for like 6 weeks. So
Yeah,
that
that's
changes also the landscape of what you're looking at first base. And I think this sets it up perfect for pitching. I think Ryu right here is a steal, especially considering that we need pitching.
right.
I think that this would be the next play.
Yeah, I'm good with Ryu. Again, he's not the traditional ace that you're hoping for, right? But I think he's very solid, especially after the bats that we got for him to be our first pitcher. That's a good start for us.
Now here, I think it really depends on how and what you want to do with your staff. The thing about Ryu is that he gives you great ratios, but he doesn't really give you the most Ks. Like
No,
he gives you good Ks, but not the most Ks.
that's why I say he's not your traditional ace that's going to go out there and get you the 200 Ks that you're hoping for. But he is
Right,
a very solid starter.
right, and keep in mind this is a 14-team league, and we are taking him with the 5th pick.
Right.
So we're not looking for a traditional ace. We're looking to build a competitive pitching staff.
Right.
I feel like the hitting is going to be carrying this team throughout. So there's a couple ways you can go with this right now. You can try to bolster the hitting, keep it super high, or what you could do is you can try and get someone that can help keep this pitching staff, pretty good. I feel like with the shortstops, this last bunch here with Correa, Swanson, Seaman,
Right.
all that stuff is a decent fallback, even DeJong, to the point where I like these guys, but I don't love these guys.
Right.
So I feel like I could wait on, although Tim Anderson does give a good fit. I do think I kind of agree here with an Aroldis Chapman pairing with this because one, it gives you, we're not going to be the best pitching team.
Right.
But if we're built for like a saves with a good ERA and WHIP, and then maybe Ks we compete with some people, it'd be a good pitching staff where you can have 5 hitting categories where we're going to be good at, and you'll have 3 pitching categories that you'll be good at, and that's an 8-category team, which is when you're going into a draft, a phenomenal way to come out of it, where you're dominant in 8 categories because you're going to win. You're going to win championships like that. Championships are 1-6-4. So I would say Chapman just makes too much sense here because he gives you a boost to your K. He's going to give you a good K per 9, so kind of balances out for Ryu, so you can get some starters later that won't be as bad with the K per 9. But he gives you a good WHIP. He gives you a good ERA. He's going to be one of the league leaders in saves, so gives us saves now as the category that we go for more than wins. And I think it balances out with the pitching staff as well as having already a good hitting staff. It gives us a shot to be competitive in pitching, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the Chapman. I do like some of the batters that are left out there. I feel like we could really kind of solidify our batting. But
so then where would you go with the bat as far as it
go to the all cheat sheet thing?
Uh-huh.
I personally, I personally would probably go with Tim Anderson because he gives us kind of that shortstop. It's a dramatic fall. I don't see any of these other guys that are left coming back to us.
I mean, I can't argue with that. That would be the other way to go, and he does give you 5 categories. So,
that to me, I think since we're not booting pitching, but what I'm saying to you is we're already behind kind of the 8 ball, I guess. I would like to bolster up our hitting since we're already to me our hitting right now is looking solid.
Yep, that is very true. I mean, like I said, this is going to be a hitting heavy team. This build, we have to win, 4 to 5 categories every week hitting.
That's what we're kind of aiming at.
Let's see what we got here. There goes Correa. Let's see.
And just go to shortstop just to kind of see what the viewers like. If we didn't go, who would be left?
You still got Swanson. You still got Seaman. You still got DeJong, Didi.
I mean, to me, Anderson is better than. He gives us more than what's left there. But
I think that's a fair assessment. What's left at relief pitching? Relief pitching now also now we're being for saves is going to be hard as far as that category is.
That is true. But I mean, there is a Ryan Presley that gives you Ks as well. So again, it's not like you were completely out of it. I feel like he's going to give us saves.
No, he is a solid guy at this
Right,
point.
that's what I mean. I like Presley. I like having Anderson and then coming back if you want getting someone like a Presley.
So now the question would be, so you have second base that you need. You need a
Right.
couple of outfielders, and we have one starting pitcher. Do we take a Presley or do we take a starting pitcher here then? Because we only have one starter.
I feel like we could kind of take both, right? I mean, we're going to come back. I feel like we could get a starter and a reliever. I probably would go with Presley and then see what's left coming back on the starting pitching.
Okay, so let's take Presley here. Boom.
And look, I mean, it was pretty much bad as that went, right?
Yep. And then the question would be, what would you take next?
So I would probably look at the starting pitcher really hard. With what's left, I mean, you and I both think Paddock is going to have a completely different season. I also like Wheeler. Going, coming out of last year in the Phillies team. I like Wheeler as well. So I probably will skip Greinke. I probably would choose Wheeler over Greinke. I also don't mind getting Paddock.
I would say Wheeler there over Paddock just because of, I think, the track record.
Right, yeah. I'm with you on that too.
But it's not a easy.
Now, again, from the viewers out there looking at it, I mean, if you look, our hitting now is, to me, is going to get you right away, 4 to 5 categories. And our pitching is not that bad. We have a Ryu, we have a Wheeler. I mean, a Wheeler, and then you have Presley, who kind of evens everything out.
Yeah, it's going to definitely come down to loading up on some arms as we go.
Yes, towards the end, right. So that's what people have to keep in mind when they're drafting. Say, hey, at some point we're going to have to load up on pitching.
So now, at this point, do we take another pitcher or do we roll? I know you like Soler here. We technically have 1 to 2 outfielders.
I actually would look at pitchers, but who's left?
So this is the cheat sheet top guys: Soler, Chapman, Happ, Musgrove, Donaldson, McCullers.
Now one more thing, just for viewers to look out there. When you're drafting, this is at some point maybe where you start looking at what the other teams have beneath you. Again, it's really only one other team. But this is, again, even if you're, let's say,
they have Freeman, Lindor, Marte, Rosarina. They have 3 outfielders, 4 outfielders. They have 2 first basemen, and they have 1 starting pitcher.
Right. So again, they're probably going to go with. Well, we never know, but they might start going with pitching. So this is just a point where you start looking at other teams to see what they have, to say, hey, if I don't go with someone here, are they going to choose so and so, right? So just viewers out there to kind of keep an eye on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I like Musgrove or McCullers. I probably would, for us that to be our third pitcher. I think, hey, we're not that off in pitching category.
Okay, so which one would you take?
Or Kevin Gausman, who I think is a little underrated. I don't know how you feel about him.
I mean, I used to be a Gausman fan when he was back in Baltimore. So I've been there. I've been hurt. I've come back. So I don't know. I don't know if we go back that way. But I think all 3 offer solid
so do I.
uptick. I think that also if you're looking at being competitive on saves, the question's going to come down to where do you get your next closer and how many closers are you planning on targeting.
Right.
And how many pitchers are you planning on targeting, with the caveat of knowing that you need to get a second baseman and some outfielders. Outfielders, I feel like you can get deeper and later. In this scenario, I think that the closers right now, they're starting to dry up. But in this case, your best bet is to go with the starting pitcher, since you do kind of have to go pitching here, because you need to build your innings up. And this is not going to be a saves dominant team. So the
Yeah.
question is going to be, what is this team going to dominate in on pitching? The whips aren't going to be too bad, so we'd probably steer toward decent whip, and we'd want the K's. So I guess the choice would be Musgrove to me, because he
Yeah.
probably will end up with the better whip throughout the season, and just be able to get you those solid wins by pitching in San Diego. So we should have three top
And
guys
also
for wins.
Musgrove for the last few years, people have been expecting, I guess, more and more.
Boom.
So this might be a year where he actually maybe puts everything together in that rotation.
Yep. Now at this point, McCullers is still there, and I think when you look at the pitching, relief pitchers, I think Oakland could be decent with Rosenthal, but that whip scares me for this team. So I would probably steer more towards the starter in
Yep.
McCullers.
Now, do you like McCullers over Sanchez?
I think the volume of innings. We
Gotcha.
need volume. So by getting a guy like Sixto, where he could pitch only 100, 150 innings and,
Right.
be on a short leash, I think that's a little harmful when technically McCullers is our number 4.
Right.
I need him. I need
Now,
him.
this is something we brought up, I think, in our last mock video. Please check it out on YouTube. But we brought that up where, hey, we liked Sanchez, but again, he will be limited. At some point, he will be cut off. So he's probably limited anywhere from 100, 120 innings. So you got to keep that in mind. Hey, I might not have him for that playoff run.
Oh man, second base is already.
All right, so now here, guys, people viewing, we're missing second base. Hey, we're pushing it here at this point now.
But I also think that taking any of these second basemen is a reach.
Yes, I'm with you on that. So again, the viewers have to take a look at, hey, yeah, you need a second baseman, but is it worth picking right here over what's left? Because you still need to fill out your bench, utility guys, right? Outfielders. Is it really worth picking a second baseman? Okay, you know what? At this point, you just waited. You might as wait a little longer.
Yep. I definitely agree with that, and I think that what the best bet here is probably take an outfielder.
Yeah.
I don't really, because third base you're locked, shortstop you got somebody, catcher. Catcher who's available on left at catcher. Murphy, Garver, Vasquez, McCann.
I'm with you on the catcher. I don't know if I go there. I like the outfielders that we have left.
Relief pitchers, Kimbrel, Will Smith.
I like Pablo Lopez also. So
honestly, I think that the play here has to be for another closer, considering that you have two and the shit's already going south fast.
Okay.
I'd probably take a guy like Smith, because Smith gets you some saves. We don't know if he's going to have the full job throughout, but he shouldn't have the job for most of the season.
Right.
He should start. It might be in a committee, but by the end he should have it. Projected to be the closer, medium security, good whip, good Ks, going to give you some saves, going to be on the good team.
I don't mind Smith, especially over Kimbrel and Montero.
Yeah, especially considering that this pitching staff needs to save here. I feel like because again, it needs balancers out to lower the whip.
And Atlanta's going to give you opportunities.
Yep. And I think that now at this point in the draft, boom, boom. We're going to move, though, him to outfield. We're going to move him to first base. So we have second base. We need utility and one more outfield and 2 utility. So I think that right here, Kepler is pretty good.
I think Kepler's consistent.
Yeah. I think second base, Chris Taylor. I like him. Don't love him. I think we can maybe get him on the next pick back.
Well, I think Taylor we could get back. I think actually Jimenez won't be there. To me, Jimenez is kind of a someone that, hey, deep in the late rounds, he could outperform where you draft him.
Yeah,
I do believe Taylor will be there on the way back for us.
yeah. I think this might be the point where I'm cool with Kimbrel.
Okay, so you think we go back to back with the relievers?
I think it just makes the most sense. The saves, we have two closers maybe.
Right.
We want to try to hit to four.
Now, do you think there's no closers waiting down the road? Someone like an Anthony Bass?
But that's going to be four. You
Right.
want to come out of here with four because we're not a pitching heavy team.
Gotcha.
This is not a
So-
pitching staff that I'm going to go into expecting to beat most teams that if they have a solid ace and some good pitchers, we're going to be, blown out of the water. If they have a bunch of good relievers, we're blown out of the water. So
Gotcha.
what are we going to go for? We have four starters. We have two relief pitchers who are going to get us some good saves, but they'll balance out the categories. So we need another guy like that that's going to boost us up. And then we're going to get probably another closer at least. We're going to roll at least four, maybe five. On the saves and get a couple of good pitchers that'll be solid whip guys with some decent Ks and decent wins, but you don't want to start getting a whole bunch of other guys that are going to start giving you bad pitching and destroying your work because you got to win some pitching categories. You can't just completely tank on pitching.
No, definitely not. And also with starters, I mean, look, they come throughout the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
People are called up. People surprise you. You could also stream depending on how many acquisitions you have during the week. There is ways to manipulate kind of pitching with the
and there goes Taylor right before us.
Oh man, really?
Yep.
Wow.
All right.
Who's left at second?
At second right now.
Oh look, Jimenez. I like him.
Same here. I think Gavin Lux, as a later pick to store. Nick Solak, it's at 191 right now. The other guy had already taken a second baseman with his last pick before that. I say we either get an outfielder or another starting pitcher. And outfield-wise, Benintendi is a popular name in an on-base percentage league. He should be pretty good. Canna gives position flexibility.
Now, the only thing
Isn't that bad?
He has been bad. I mean, he was bad the last couple.
Yes.
Seasons. So we are. If you're going to pick Benintendi, you are hoping that the change of scenery is really what. Because at some point,
he's a talented prospect. Let's not act like he's not, like.
No. I get it because at some point he was a 20 home runs.
And this was pick 181. So let's also be honest here. It's 181.
Yes. No. I'm with you. But again, to me, I like Jimenez. I don't know as for me to get there, but I think
that we can get Jimenez with the next pick, though.
I'm with you on that. I think we can get him on the next pick too.
So we need an outfielder or a starting pitcher here.
I think we both like Stroman, but do we pick him over the outfield? Is the question.
I think that he gets you some solid wins because he's on the Mets.
Right.
Boom. Get that second baseman. Now, the one thing that you're seeing here is because we took so much hitting early, we've been chasing pitching late.
Yes.
And that is setting us up in a position right now where, the last bit of the offense, we're going to have to hit on some of these guys in order
right about that.
to balance this offense out.
Well, you're hoping that you hit on some of these late rounds guys.
Yes. And
like we're hoping that maybe Jimenez outperforms what he's being drafted at.
Yep, but not only that, I think even more so than Jimenez, it's going to be these next couple of picks because they're wild card picks. They are outfielders. They are utility guys,
right?
Depending on what we have, because we could always move Cody to outfield, move Pete to first, and then we just need one outfield and 3 utility. So it's going to be best position available type stuff going on now. So these are going to be the hitters that we need to hit on. We need these guys to come through, and we need a catcher.
We need a catcher. Again, I'm someone that who's the catchers left?
Mitch Garver, James McCann, Nola, Yachty.
I mean, to me, I don't mind taking a catcher here, but I probably, you know, I probably would look at what's out there more.
So what you would do? You would take the catcher here?
Yeah, I probably would take the catcher. I believe what's left, those are the
Okay.
last startable catchers left.
All right. So we'll take James McCann. I probably would have waited like another round there, but I understand where you're coming from.
My thing is, I think we had this also in the last mock. Again, check it out on YouTube. That we left the catcher at all. I don't. Did we even pick a catcher? Oh, we did. I think it was like the last pick, right? But I think one of the arguments that or debates that me and Steve had was at some point, McCann was kind of the last startable catcher.
Mm-hmm.
After that was really you're probably going to go in and out of picking up catchers or even starting a catcher.
Now, at this point in the draft, where do you think we should go? We have the pitching filled up. We need.
I think we have to go for either a utility outfielder. I mean, we got to look at what's.
So these are the best hitters available.
I mean, I don't mind Turner.
Let's see here. Best hitters. I mean, at this point in the draft, I'm just going to go back to what I was saying. I picked 212. The upside of Benintendi is just too great. I get he had a bad.
No, I don't mind that.
Like, I don't think that this late he should be still on the board.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I think.
Boom. All right, so let's see what it is.
Is great,
Yeah. I just think him being on the board for that long is just a little crazy.
Yeah.
I get
a lot of people are going off what he did in Boston. That's why
his upside. I get that, but his upside still is not outside of 200.
I'm with you. He was a
not
2020
200
guy at some
point
point, predicted to be a 2020 guy. Again, he had really bad seasons in Boston, but I think, the change of scenery could really help him. He, like you said, he wasn't someone that was a scrub. He was supposed to be good.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, we're talking about around the 200s.
Yes, exactly.
So this is also a thing that we have to keep in perspective. I'm not, arguing for Benintendi to be the player of the year, but I'm saying in pick 200, roll the dice, see what he is. If he sucks, drop him, pick up somebody else. Yeah. This is baseball. You're going to go through players. Yeah. That's the way it works. And that's why we do, waiver wire shows and all that good stuff. Exactly. But now at this point in the draft, what are you thinking, Ricky?
Again, I'm looking at that.
You want Justin Turner here?
Yeah, I like Turner there.
Boom.
He's a guy that has been producing. To get him late like this, I think it's kind of a no-brainer. And again, guys, you guys understand we're picking late here. We're hoping that one of these guys hit, or it's just, and you're not looking for 30, 40 home runs. You're looking for a guy that's going to not kill you and then maybe outproduce of where you're picking him at this point.
Yep. I totally agree with you. So now at this point in the draft, we have essentially, you could say we just need one more outfielder or one more utility bat for our starting lineup. Pitching wise, we're pretty much we have the set, but obviously with pitching, you want to get some more guys.
Right.
I think with the injury of what happened in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I like Castillo because Anderson will be out. We're not really sure how long, but he will be out. So to me, it feels like Castillo's going to fill right in and go to that closer role. No.
Yep.
Even though Tampa Bay kind of is, they do a lot of things by committee or whatever the manager feels like it. But again, Castillo is the next best option after what people thought Anderson was going to be.
Justin Verlander just went. Are you kidding me?
Are you serious?
Yeah, I mean, I know he might be back towards the end of the season, but damn.
Yeah, I'm not picking for. I'm not using an injury spot, IR spot for him.
I mean, I wouldn't say that, but this early.
Yeah, he could be your last pick.
Yeah, maybe a little bit later, but not when Noah Syndergaard is on there.
That's another. Syndergaard still out there?
Yeah, I would take Syndergaard right. If I just saw that Verlander went in the league,
Yeah, I would pick because Syndergaard is supposed to be back.
he's already hitting
June.
97.
They're talking about June coming back. I mean,
Yep.
you for someone that's talented as Syndergaard is, if
I
you
would
could,
store him.
yeah, you could definitely store him away. Yeah.
And again, with the pitching staff that we want to try to maximize and that we're missing some starters and stuff like that, that's going to be a great midseason boost.
Yes.
And until the midseason, that's going to give us a flexible roster spot that we're able to make pickups
Yeah.
and be able to get certain guys, ride the hot hands until then and figure it out. Because again, there's going to be players that you'll end up dropping. It'll be guys that you get off the waiver wire that end up being good that you end up keeping. So your
And,
roster is going to become very
it's
fluid.
almost like a trade. You get him back. It's almost like if you traded for him.
Yep.
But you're not giving up anything.
Yep, and you could tell the Ricky influence on this team: McCann, Pete Alonso, Stroman.
No, don't do
Syndergaard.
that. Don't put all the Met picks on me.
I'm just saying, bro. We met heavy. We heavy out here, bro. But with the next pick available, we have basically one utility spot and 3 bench spots.
Okay.
The next pick that we should be going with is what? Maybe Anthony Santander.
Yeah, I like him too.
Boom.
I'm with you on that.
He's the best player on the board. It's getting
Right.
kind of late. We just want to kind of get some of these guys off here. I do think that he has a shot to be decent in Baltimore. I personally
now just a heads up because I know you brought him up, but he's gone. I was going to bring up Ursula.
Yeah,
we had second base Jimenez, where we're hoping that he outperforms, right? But here you could also look, viewers out there, when you have a position maybe where you're iffy about
third base
to look up for a back base. Oh yeah, that's right. He's third.
And at third base we have Turner and we have Ramirez. So it's kind of hard to go with 4 third basemen. I mean, 3 third basemen.
That's too much. That's overkill.
Yeah. Especially with the limits on what you can start. That means both would take the utility spot. Yeah. And it really kind of leaves hard for rotation. I do like position flexibility when I'm building out a team. I think that's key to really help you out and get things popping. All right. Draft Wizards being a little slow today.
Yeah, it is.
I must know it's draft day.
Or a lot of people are probably doing things.
Yeah. I think this is a big week for a lot of people to be drafting their leagues.
Yeah.
To be getting ready for the season. I know a lot of people will probably be drafting Monday and Tuesday as well. Because the season doesn't start till the 1st, so they have some time. So I don't expect all drafts to be on this weekend. I do expect Monday and Tuesday to have a nice little influx as well.
There's still games during the week, Monday, Tuesday. There's still games. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, spring training games.
I don't think I'm not 100% sure. I know that the 1st is the first day of baseball. So.
Yeah, I know that.
So I don't know if they're still playing. I know a lot of the big guys have already been sitting out. I think this weekend's games might be the last games.
Yeah, because I know people play this weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. So at this point in the draft, I think probably taking another pitcher or another hitter.
No, I would probably go look at pitchers.
And then here. I mean, you can go with I'll talk about Slim Pickens.
Yeah. Again, guys, viewers out there, you know,
this is the 14th league. This is the 300th player overall.
So you're gonna have to kind of hold your breath. Hey, if you've done some investigation, done some research, hey, you know what? Hey, I like this guy. I think he might do something. Like some people like Dunning, some of you like Sheffield, but I'm not really.
So who do you go with here? Who's your guy, Ricky?
I either would go with Canning or Dunning.
Canning or Dunning? Who do you go with?
I would go with Canning.
Canning?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a veteran.
Griffin, the big.
And I think since I don't think he kills your whip, which is what kind of we're going off our pitching off.
Yep. Well, whip and ERA.
And ERA, yeah.
Yep.
But I think Canning is someone that doesn't kill you in any of those categories.
Yep. You figure whip, ERA, and hopefully saves maybe some wins. Those are your wild categories. Is your wins and your
I'm
saves.
actually intrigued to see because I know last time we had our 6 categories that we won the last mock.
Yep.
And again, I'm intrigued to see how this kind of pans out.
Now with 2 picks left, I think we need probably 1 bench hitter at least.
Yeah.
And 1 pitcher. So what are you thinking here, Rick?
You
like Riley?
Yeah, I like Austin Riley. I think
he plays outfield. He plays third base. So
yep.
I mean, we do have 3 third basemen here, but with the outfield flexibility, I feel like it gives him enough to make the lineup 2 ways.
Yep, I'm with you on the Riley.
Okay.
And then now we go with pitching.
Boom. And there's 1 pick left.
Starting pitching at this point, right? There's no relievers out there.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. I would say at this point in the draft, you could always grab a reliever who's just good for the ratios.
Okay.
Because when you think about it, it's not going to be a win-heavy team, but you need to balance it out. You need to make sure this team can at least be competitive in your ratios. So even if you want to use one of the roster spot for Noah Syndergaard to stream or whatever, boom,
right.
there you could get your innings up, and then until then you'll have guys that'll keep your consistency on your ERA and whip. Because again, you have to figure out which pitching categories you're going to go for and how are you going to win some, because you cannot win baseball without winning something in pitching.
No.
It's 5 by 5.
And I love having that flexibility in picking up, dropping players. I mean, in baseball, there's a lot of that.
Yep. I would say here, your guy Dunning is there, so he's one option.
Okay, I like Dunning. I mean, I would,
or one of these pitchers. Probably Dunning.
Yeah, I would go with Dunning.
All right. Boom. But I think also there, if you do find one of those good relief pitchers that can balance you out, it sets you up pretty well.
Look at that.
A minus.
A minus. Look at
90 out of 100. You see, because we built it with the strategy in mind.
Yeah,
that's literally what I've been saying. Though I got to be like, but the strategy here is
right.
Even with Tim Anderson, I'm like, he fits better than a Chapman, because guess what? A strategy is we got to go for all 5 hitting, and we got to go for the pitching.
So again, what Steve just brought up a perfect thing is you guys really have to kind of feel out how your team is setting up. I think we did it. I was really curious because I thought we did a really good job here. This was better rating than what we had on our last mock draft, which is on YouTube.
Yeah.
I think we did really good here. I think we made up for pitching, and I think Steve brought up a good point. I think Steve did.
See, look,
with getting the relievers to kind of offset
wins in case. I told you it's going to be tough for us to win in those. ERA 5th, WHIP 8th. That means we're competitive, but saves 3rd. Saves is going to be the benchmark of okay, we're going to beat most teams in saves. Boom. ERA will be competitive with just about most teams. We'll be able to balance things out and make appropriate. WHIP, look how close WHIP is. It's within tenths of a point. So depending on how we make spot starts and stuff like that, you can kind of balance that out. But again, those became the 3 pitching categories that we go with. I started going relievers over starters because guess what? I knew that we didn't have that many. Going for Ks would be completely too hard. Go ratios there. Average here is going to be killer, but this is supposed to be on base percentage. So I'm not too sure why. I guess with the back end they haven't gotten that.
Yeah, I think they did the same thing because I have it, and they don't put OBP, they put average for whatever reason.
Right, but even though I did have it set like that, so that's just weird that it didn't come off. But I mean, scoring wise, literally, it's going to be 1, 2. Now, the problem with this is it's good in home runs, it's good in stolen bases, but the runs in the RBIs just aren't good enough.
Right.
Where you're definitely going to have to be searching on the waiver wire to get another power bat. I feel like that can help you out here. Speed wise, you're going to be pretty good. Home run wise, you don't necessarily need to be home runs, but you need to get walks, RBIs, and runs. That's going to be much going to look to get. To double down on this team, because this team, honestly, it got a 90 draft, but if you look at the other team was strategically set up better.
Yeah.
Because hitting wise, it was like,
we had 6 categories that we had one.
Right. This one doesn't have one other than saves, home runs, and RBIs, where we're kind of like top 5. But that's kind of the only other thing is it is competing. Now, again, this is 14 team leagues, so obviously this is a little bit you want to be in the top couple. So you have to bear that in mind. But overall, I think it's a solid team. I do think that
Sure.
it's a team, though, that's going to need to make sure that it makes some good moves on the waiver wire in order to be competitive throughout the year,
And
though.
also with saves, because saves are premium, right? You
You're going
could
to have to keep making the pickups.
right. You're going to
Yeah.
have to keep making the pickups, or if let's say all four of our closers are really good, and you could afford to maybe give one with something else and get a better bat or something like that, you could always maneuver. But again, you're
I'll be
probably
honest
not
with you.
going to do
I
that
think
because
I
you're
think with
probably
this,
going to want to keep your saves.
yeah, with
away.
this team, you don't have many stud closers.
That is true too.
Like, unless you get another one off the waiver wire, and then you can deal. Like, if you get
Yeah.
5 closers, then you can make the trade. I feel like with this one, you need to keep a minimum of 4 closers in this type of league, because saves is going to be your one pitching category that you're going to have to go after. Because
Right.
again, in categories based leagues, you got to win 6. So even if you take all the hitting, you got to get at least 1 pitching. And I think saves is going to be the one that you're going to have to hang your hat on, other than Braun and 6. But when you're facing Braun and 6, you should get more wins than them. And with Braun and 6, you should get more Ks than them. So when you match up versus the only other team built in the same way, because if you look at Braun and 6, good ERA, good whip, good saves. That's exactly the way I was thinking of building it. But then Braun and 6's offense is nowhere near good enough for it to compete for a championship.
Right.
So you would think with a team like Braun and 6, if you spent so much on these closers, your offense should be so much better than it is. But
I
again,
do think, like you said, with this team, you are going to have to make adjustments. You are going to have to really play the waiver wire and try to and pick up a player or get someone that had.
And with baseball, it's built for that.
Yeah, that's what that
baseball
is.
is built for that. Like, all you have to really do, and the beautiful part is the way this team is set up. It's flexible, so that what you really need at the end of the day is a utility player. Like, we'll have one essential utility spot instead of like I need to find a second base. Well, although we do kind of, if the second baseman goes southways, we might have to find a second baseman. But it's not like you have to look for a specific position. You can look for a utility guy. So it's a wild card, and I think that also makes things easier when you're searching on the waiver wire, is not being pigeonholed into being like I can only find centers because I have 2 centers, and that's a position that I'm rotating, like in basketball. So I think that's a good thing to keep in mind. I think that this team came out pretty solid. I think it has great upside.
Yeah.
And like I said, when you're drafting, you have to have a strategy. I think I highlight that in most of the videos. I think that one thing that I really want to point out here is that, each draft is different, and you have to play the way that draft is running. So in some leagues, pitching might be running early, and if you want to get pitching, you got to get it early. Or in other leagues, maybe hit the shortstops are going, so you might have to pivot and make your decisions. But really feel out the team, have a little bit of a strategy in mind. And when I say have the strategy in mind, I mean, like, okay, once you get your first pick, you have to then decide, okay, who's available? This is the best guy available. How would I build my team if I get that guy? So you kind of have to start understanding, okay, with these first couple of picks, how would I build my team out if I got this player? And that's the way to approach it. And just based on that, like I said, you have to have an idea of which categories you're going to go for, which categories your guys are good at. And the way your first couple of picks, I feel like, go really dictates how the rest of your draft should go.
Yeah. And to me, the biggest thing is just be flexible during the draft.
Yep.
Be ready to change what you had in mind if it goes left, or if something, all these, like you said, like Steve said, all these shortstops are gone, all these closers are gone. Start adjusting your mind to say, hey, all right, let me go this route now. Even though I had something in mind, let me go this route now.
Yep. I totally agree with you. But on that note, we hope you guys got some good information from this. Some good strategy points, some players that you might be interested in going after. If you have any questions about your teams, feel free to drop them below. If you have any questions about the players that we brought up, feel free to do so. We have someone that was on the YouTube comments yesterday talking about good old Giancarlo Stanton staying healthy. To that point, like I said, he increased his yoga. I'm not saying he wasn't doing yoga before, but he just had more yoga than last time. And I think that will make a difference. And on that note, we're out. Have a wonderful day, guys.
Take care,
Enjoy
guys,
your drafts. Let us know what's going on, and peace.